The election of Barack Obama last November was hailed by many as a defining moment in America's political and racial history. In about a week's time, he'll reach the milestone of 100 days in office.
So to assess whether the presence of a black first family in the White House has changed race relations in the United States, we're joined now by Professor Annette Gordon-Reed, a noted US presidential scholar and, as of overnight, also a Pulitzer Prize-winning author for her book, The Hemingses of Monticello. Professor Gordon-Reed is in our Sydney studio. Good morning, Professor. Congratulations.
Good morning to you, and thank you very much.
Tell us how you found out, first of all, about the Pulitzer. That must have been a great moment.
Well, my editor called me this morning. I have been in Sydney just a few days, so I'm in that period of sort of waking up and falling asleep, and I was on my way back to sleep when he called and told me he didn't mind waking me up for this, and it was it was in a sort of a combination of euphoria and an extreme sleepiness, but it was wonderful.
And it's important to note that, of course, you won the History Prize, the Pulitzer History Prize, for
Yes.
this second book of yours on a very important subject. Am I drawing too long a bow to say that when a book like this wins the Pulitzer, that maybe race relations in America are changing and the focus and the attention when it comes to looking at your black and white history is changing?
Oh, definitely. And I'm told that the winner for the nonfiction prize was also about, well, general fiction nonfiction prize was also about slavery. So it's a topic that is on people's minds quite a bit this year.
Look, it's interesting, just as an absolute outsider, of course, and as an Australian, there must be something tremendously powerful, surely, in just that simple image of seeing this beautiful, proud, healthy, lovely-looking first family, a black first family in the White House that just, to me, speaks volumes about what's changed in that country. Is that image itself, is that a powerful one?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, power comes not just from political things. There's a cultural power and social power of seeing them there as the sort of representatives of the United States of America. He and Michelle and their children are the first family, and they are representatives of the United States, and that's something that's just tremendously powerful.
When Barack Obama, during the presidential campaign, when he gave and delivered that very important speech on race, probably the most significant one that's really been given in America's history, a more perfect union, he was speaking there about how race relations really aren't going to change significantly in the first term of a black president. But what do you see has shifted?
Well, I think it's the perception, the sort of image of what it means to be black. The image of black manhood, the image of black womanhood and children. I mean, they are a sort of super normal, super comfortable family, and typically you think of the sort of stereotypical vision of the black family is one of a group of people in disarray, and they sort of counter that very, very powerfully. So it's something I think that will take place over time. Obviously things won't change overnight, but young people certainly will have a different view of what it means to be a black man and a black woman in America.
It's interesting you make that point about black manhood, because that has been the negative versions of that and the dysfunctional nature of some black manhood has been the most powerful projection for many years out of the US.
Oh, certainly. If you think of, and I'm sort of dating myself here, but if you think of rap music, rap videos, when I go across the world and I turn the TV set on and you see these images of black people portrayed there, compare those images with Barack Obama in Strasbourg, with thousands of people there cheering him on like he's a rock star, and he's there speaking very, very seriously to serious issues. So I think it's a counterweight to some more negative images that are out there.
But that's an interesting observation of yours, because many of those black rappers are successful, they're wealthy, they're powerful, their music is incredibly popular, so not everyone would see that necessarily as a negative image.
Well, there's more to life than money, and certainly there are lots of ways to be popular and well-known that aren't necessarily the healthiest ways of going about things. I think it's the monolithic nature of it. I mean, Barack Obama is an intellectual. He's a writer. He presents a black person as a contemplative individual and not just appetite and not just, sort of intuitiveness. So I think it's really, not to say that there's no value to rap music or whatever, but I'm just saying it's the monolithic nature of those presentations that he counters. You get to see a different view of black people.
Yes, indeed. And I think we saw that also when we saw the First Lady on her trip overseas go and visit a girls' school, and she was talking about how, for her, it was cool to get A's in school.
Yes, yes, and yeah, and she is a symbol. She's become a symbol to women of all colors at this point, young people of all colors. So it's just a different way of presenting blackness to America and to the world.
When you first published your first scholarly work looking at the relationship between Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, his slave, an issue that had been skirted around by so many biographers around the world, the response to that book was really overwhelmingly positive. But what do you see has shifted between then and now in your most recent work?
Well, I think now people wanted to find out more about Jefferson and Hemings, but also about the family as a whole, to see them as a unit, not just these two individual people. And I think there's probably a greater willingness to understand that Jefferson was a human being, and people don't see it as sort of a challenge to his greatness. I mean, that there are things about him that are good and things about him that are bad. But I think the story now is people are willing to incorporate it into Jefferson's life in a way that they were not before. Certainly at Monticello they have.
The issue of black authority and black intelligence and real world power, I guess, is embodied in Barack Obama. But where do you see the discussion needs to go now? I mean, just referring back to Barack Obama's observation that nothing significant is really going to change in one presidential cycle. Where does the conversation move to now?
Well, the first conversation, the first thing that has to happen, obviously, is that the country and the world has to get back on its feet economically, so that you can address some of the really structural problems that continue to harm blacks and also lower-class whites and working-class white people. I think the conversation now has to be more, as I said before, about the differences, about the individuality of black people, and to sort of have this sense of hope, to keep this sense of hope alive in young black people that I think he can do if he has 2 terms, hopefully, over the next 8 years. It's the beginning of a conversation. It's not the end of it, by any means.
Professor Gordon-Reed, really good to talk to you, and again, congratulations on the Pulitzer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.